What's up, everybody? Jared Sandler here with you, and I've got a new toy. Not this. I've had this, but this little thing, and that's hopefully why the audio is coming in as clear as ever. And I certainly appreciate people who've been watching these videos, bearing with me through some of the not so clear audio times. But we should be good to go, unless I'm screwing something up right now without realizing it as we speak. But wanted to do a breaking pop-up video with Major League Baseball news coming down the wire late afternoon, early evening yesterday, with some finalizations expected to come across today. At the time that I'm recording this, we don't have total final word on stuff, but it seems like there are a lot of likelihoods. So I wanted to kind of break down what's going to happen here. And really the fallout or the aftermath or my thoughts on the way everything played out yesterday. But first things first, would really appreciate if you'd consider subscribing to this page. Pretty easy to do. Or if you'd like, in addition to that, love for you to share these little commentaries with your friends and family. We also have on this page, on this channel, a lot more than just me blabbing. Got some interviews that hopefully you'll enjoy, a part of the Just a Sec interview series with people in and out of the sports world like Mark Cuban, Chris Harrison, and others who, again, play prominent roles in sports and perhaps prominent roles in entertainment or beyond. Also, some interviews with fan hosts and interviews with sports experts about various topics. All right, so Major League Baseball, looks like we're going to have a 60-game season. This is kind of in the middle of, best to worst outcomes. Worst outcome would have been no season. And I understand there are people that are saying that, well, if they're not going to agree, then why are they even playing? Well, understand this, that first of all, most Major League Baseball players are not yet millionaires. They make less than $1 million per year, right around half. And more than half, way more than half, have yet to reach free agency. So that means that way more than half have yet to make life-changing money to where they don't have to work another day in their life. Guys like Elvis Andrus for the Rangers and Shin-Soo Choo, they've gotten there. But for every one of those guys, even a guy like Joey Gallo has not made money to the point where he wouldn't have to work a day in his life if baseball just ended for him completely. But more than that, think of the support staff, the trainers, the people that are a part of the front office that, their jobs are dependent on baseball, stadium workers, the people part of the gig economy. Heck, me. No baseball, I'd probably get furloughed, just being honest. So there are a lot of people that it would affect if there was no baseball. So the fact there's baseball, and yeah, fully admit that I might be biased, is better than no baseball. The best outcome would have been if the two sides could have agreed on stuff. And that would have been best for a few reasons. One, with the CBA set to expire late 2021, if we could get some momentum towards an improving relationship, starting with an agreement, that would have been really good. That would have been great. Now, the fact that there's no agreement doesn't mean that these two sides are going to be able to disagree on a new CBA, or they're not going to be able to agree on a new CBA, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But the real loss to me is that had there been an agreement, we would have had this amazing opportunity to implement and try some new things. Now, a couple of those things will still be implemented, but a lot of them will not. For instance, expanded playoff field. The owners would have liked that for this year and next year because it would have generated more revenue, but I think fans would have enjoyed seeing how that would look. We always talk about in an alternate reality, in an alternate universe. We'd love to have seen how this or that would have played out. And over a standard season for any of these sports, you don't just try out rules. I mean, the closest we've had is, okay, the NFL tried the pass interference review thing, but that failed miserably. Typically, you're just kind of going in blindly when you implement new rules. Well, because it would have been a shorter season, this would have been a perfect opportunity to try things, try the expanded playoff and maybe some other things that the two sides had discussed. And we lose out on that. Now, it does appear at the time that I'm recording this that the universal DH will be a thing. It seems like both sides will agree to that for this year, but not next, which would have been a part of the initial agreement. And it seems like the extra inning rule will be in effect. We're starting with the 10th inning. A team will have a runner at second base and nobody out to start the innings so that we don't have, in this shortened season with fewer off days, these long 15-inning games. I don't know that I would like that moving forward. I think, I think I'd like to maybe consider other ways to avoid the 15, 16-inning game. But remember, those are so few and far between. Some people have said let's end in a tie like they do in Asia. I don't know that I'm there yet. I'm still in my head trying to figure out what I'd like best for that. But that is what will likely happen is extra innings will feature a runner at second, nobody out to start from the top of the 10th moving forward to try and end games a little sooner. So as far as the CBA in 2021, because that's still very top of mind for me, I think a few things. One, I hope that all the negative publicity and attention that has been directed towards this fiasco between the players and the owners can maybe incentivize them to get their stuff together for the expiring CBA. I also think while that in and of itself is a bigger challenge, it is a much greater challenge to get a new CBA worked out, especially when the sides are adversarial, than in this specific situation. Understand that this was very abnormal in that you don't have your typical runway leading up to this sort of agreement like you would for a CBA. They've been planning for the CBA and looking ahead to that for a long time, whereas this kind of jumped on people. And now you've got some really challenging factors like no regular season games having been played, such that owners weren't able to generate any sort of revenue before the pandemic hit, and a lot of agendas being thrown into this pot all of a sudden, whereas with the CBA, there are a lot of agendas, but you have that natural approach, if you will. You have that natural preparation. So I'm going to remain hopeful on that. How does this impact the Rangers? Well, 60 games, it's kind of a toss-up, right? I mean, heck, who knows which team is going to sneak into the playoffs that otherwise would not make it over a 162-game season. And the Rangers could be one of those teams. I'd say that 60 games certainly doesn't hurt any non-favorite. That doesn't mean that every non-favorite is now going to sneak into the playoffs and every favorite isn't, but it only helps the non-favorites. It only helps teams like the Rangers or even in the AL West, the Angels. Not having an expanded playoff field doesn't help, but 60 games. And, the beauty of having what we believe to be a strong rotation for the Rangers is that, really good pitchers are, in theory, supposed to prevent you from, having big losing streaks. Because, it's not like, whereas Rangers rotations in the past, you've hoped for Cole Hamels to come up because 2 through 5 are struggling. Well, in theory, that's not going to be the case. So maybe that will help the Rangers maybe not get off to a white-hot start, but avoid a bad start. That's the key. You can't get off to a bad start. You don't have to start off 9-1 to make the playoffs, but you just can't get off to a bad start. So we'll have to see how all that plays out. It's going to be interesting. Would love to hear your thoughts on the season ahead. Wanted to just jump in and share some thoughts. We'll certainly do more of that. Going to do some stuff on the Cowboys tomorrow, Mavericks on Friday, and as baseball stuff develops, we'll break in with more baseball conversation. Thanks so much for hanging out. Please subscribe. Talk to you soon.